All right, we have sunlight right here striking this woman. There should be shadows behind her, right? So let's make a shadow. And the easiest way to do that is just make a new layer between these two, because we don't have to paint carefully because she'll block what we're doing. So right here, we can either click on the new layer icon or Shift Option Command N and make a new layer. Then get our paintbrush. B is the shortcut to get our brush tool. And then I'm going to change the size of the brush. I'm holding down Control and Option again. Remember, clicked right to get bigger, left to get smaller, down to get harder, up to get softer. I want a really soft edge brush. And I want to change the blend mode from color to multiply. And I've already forgot something, and I'm glad I didn't start painting. And I'm going to lower the opacity down, say down around 30% or so. This number really doesn't matter. Just get down near 30%. Now, I don't want to paint on a pure black layer. We want to darken. Photoshop has dodge and burn tools, but there's an old school way to do this. And filling this, I've shown you the shortcut for fill with the foreground and the background. Option delete, Command delete, right? Shift delete brings up the fill dialog box. And this is also where you can fill with black and white and patterns and all this stuff. But we want to fill with 50% gray. Why in the world is 50% gray an option? And how does that help? Well, it helps because in the blend modes, overlay and soft light ignore 50% gray. So if I click on either one of those two, it's as if this layer does not exist. Anything I paint with white will lighten the image. Anything I paint with black will darken the image. Hence, our low opacity brush set to multiply. And I'm going to make this brush a little smaller because I really want to build up right around the base of her dress. This is where the shadow is going to be the darkest. So I'm just going to click, 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 click. And then we can make the brush, maybe a little bigger, and then just click and drag out here, and then maybe, a click or two. And just to get this shadow so it kind of fades out and we're going in the direction the light would be pushed, right? And this is an indistinct shadow. So it's real easy to just do something loose. By the time we darken everything else, this shadow helps provide realism, helps to attach her to the ground. Because in actuality, how do we know she's not floating 6 inches above it? We could spend time noodling and making this better, but the idea is just let's learn what we're doing here. Then, if you notice, I'm going to switch over here. We might as well, this video is not that long. We got a black and white layer, but we also have a Gaussian blur layer where it says soften details. And the cool thing about changing this to a smart object is I can double click here and see that I set this at 1.3 pixels, which is not a lot. So come back over here. Let's turn this layer into a smart object. And you right click out here and say convert to smart object. I've made a custom keyboard shortcut that you don't have. We'll talk about making more custom keyboard shortcuts shortly. But either way, convert this thing to a smart object, right? Right here. And now she's a smart object. Now we can go. And I also have, hey, look at that. There's Gaussian blur. Because I use this all the time. Under Filter, Blur, Gaussian blur, or Gaussian blur, however you pronounce it. I'm just going to pick 1.3. That's what I did before, and then click OK. This ever so slightly took out the details. We're going to do more to this. This is kind of a soft focus picture, and she's in tight focus, so we got to do things to make her blend into this background. Last but not least, we need to turn this into a black and white image, and there are dozens of ways to do this, but look, I just used an adjustment layer, a black and white adjustment layer. And you can see I chose darker. Now, is that the right choice? There's no right choice. You fool around, you try to figure out, and this is going to create some real hot spots and highlights and rough edges, which are going to be taken care of up the layer stack. So right here, we're going to go to our adjustment layers, and it's window adjustments. My adjustments are right here because I told you, hey, we're working in a custom workspace, and I had you set this up with your adjustments here. Second row, third one in. Hey, look at that black and white filter. Boom. There it is, the default setting. Kind of terrible, don't you think? And I'm not going to run through all of these. You can go through all of these and figure out what you like. But for me, darker was a good start. Is it? This does not do enough for me. She's way too bright for this picture. We're going to handle that. Look over here. See, she kind of starts fitting in. Although with the light source over here, the back of her dress really wouldn't be that white, but we got to cheat a little bit because it's a poster and we're trying to invite the person into the image to understand that she's the focal point. And she does stand out from the background because she's exceptional. All right, so artistic license there. Lots more to do. Let's come back and do it.